Wishclaw Talisman is so much better than you think, and in this video we're cutting Infernal Tutor for Wishclaw in Beseech Saga Storm. Let's go see the full deck list. What is Beseech Saga Storm? Well, it's exactly how it sounds. We're playing Beseech the Mirror, arguably the best card printed for Storm combo in over a decade. And this is the card that the deck is built around. But behind the Beseech the Mirror, there's a secondary tutor. Today we're playing Wishclaw Talisman instead of Infernal Tutor. One of the complaints that some people have had about this deck is when you run Infernal Tutor, you're sort of pigeonholed into getting Gaea's Will. Alternatively, you could run a main deck Empty the Warrens, but usually it's Gaea's Will. Okay, well, why is that a bad thing? Well, if your opponent has game 1 graveyard removal, like crop rotation for Bazooka Bog or anything like that, you're sort of stuck losing the game. And if Empty the Warrens isn't a realistic option because crop rotation could also get Tabernacle, obviously it's a problem. Lands is one of the most popular archetypes in the format, so it does come up. Okay, well, if you play Wishclaw Talisman, you can actually go get Song of Creation. Well, can't Infernal Tutor do that with your Beseech the Mirror? Theoretically, yes, that is a possibility, but the problem with that is the Infernal Tutor requires you to be Hellbent, which means that you've discarded your hand to Lion's Eye Diamond, and you have no further spells for Song of Creation. When you play Wishclaw Talisman, you can go get Beseech the Mirror without discarding your hand, play the Beseech into Song of Creation, and then play your Lotus Petal to draw 2 cards. So I think Wishclaw Talisman is a naturally better fit. On top of that, we're a deck that runs Mox Opal. So by playing Wishclaw Talisman, we're increasing our Metalcraft count. And we're an Urza Saga deck, so it pumps up our constructs. This card is just so synergistic, and I can't figure out why people haven't been playing it sooner. So today we're playing 4 copies of Wishclaw Talisman in an otherwise pretty stock deck list. And one of the reasons to play this archetype, in my opinion, is that you have Urza Saga into Aether Spellbomb against the decks like Initiative, or you can get Haywire Might to blow up a Chalice of the Void. Or if you're feeling a little bit wild and you think that you can be the beatdown in the matchup, you can even get Shadow Spear. So these are all things that I really like, and that's what we'll be doing in today's Legacy Storm video. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I'd love to hear from you. But for now, we're going to hop on into match number 1. I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Round number 1, we're on the play against Who's Yuri, and we've opened up a pretty decent hand. I'll keep this. So when you look at this hand, you might naturally be thinking, okay, you play your Polluted Delta and pass. I think that's actually a little bit of a trap. And I think that what you should do is play your basic Swamp and pass. So by playing out the basic Swamp, on turn 2 you can play your Urza Saga into Wishclaw Talisman, and if it gets countered, it's not the end of the world, and it looks like we're facing Initiative. So it's not the end of the world. Moonstompy? Alright, it is in fact Moonstompy. But you're not forced to fetch for your basic island and not being able to play the Urza Saga on the second turn. So we're facing Moonstompy here, and no Hate Piece. So if I could draw a 0 mana spell here, we could theoretically try to Song of Creation. We draw Lion's Eye Diamond. I think we're going to party here. Alright, so Urza Saga is an enchantment land. So one of the cool things about Beseech the Mirror is everyone always thinks artifacts, but it says enchantment, artifacts, or tokens. So you can actually sacrifice the Urza Saga right here. So we're going to try to, swing a little bit high here. We will Beseech the Mirror getting rid of this Urza Saga, and now we'll go get Song of Creation, and we'll play the song. Okay, so one thing about Song that people forget is you are allowed to play an additional land, so let's do that. And then I'm going to fetch to Thin, and I'm going to go grab a Underground Sea. We have 8 blue spells in our deck. Let's try to draw one here. Lion's Eye Diamond, trigger Song of Creation, and we fizzled. Okay, so I am forced to pass the turn now. I guess I could have... No, I couldn't have done that. Never mind, ignore me. I was like, oh, I could have sacrificed the Lion's Eye Diamond on the stack. Nope, that's not how that works. I was wrong. So it took me a split second, but I realized it. waking up for the day, you know, all that good stuff. Caves of Chaos Adventure. So they're hoping that I brick here. I hope that I don't. So they'll go get a basic. They grab their mountain, and now they're going to combat. I am definitely dead on the next turn, so I need to draw a spell here. Okay. Spell that I can cast, please. We're at 12 life. Draw for turn. It's technically a spell I can cast, so we're going to hold priority here. Play the Thoughtseize, targeting them. And, oh, I auto-yielded. I forgot about that. Whoops. Okay, we'll take the Broadside Bombardiers. I don't need to... I mean, I guess I could. But if I drew... let's turn off the auto-yields. We'll play this Lotus Petal now. And with that trigger on the stack, we'll add 3 black. This is what I should have done previously, but I had auto-yielded to the song trigger. So, and I'm rewarded here. We'll tap the Urza Saga, and now we will bargain away the Saga. We'll draw 2. And now we can just make it a pretty easy win with Gaea as well. We'll play the Gaea as well, Storm 4. And can't stop me now. And the opponent concedes. So we've taken game 1 over Moonstompy, despite, you know, maybe some small optimizations I could have done differently. We'll switch this over to card view and bring this up. We definitely want Boseiju, the Abrupt Decays, Haywire Might. I don't think that this is a Shadow Spear matchup, so I don't want to bring that in. I do like Empty the Warrens, though. So we're at 66 cards at the moment. I don't love Veil of Summer. And I don't think Thoughtseize is particularly good when you're on the draw. So we can probably take those out. And now you can leave in 1 Thoughtseize, or you can change how you're boarding. Theoretically, we could bring in the Shadow Spear and say, hey, if I decide I want to take the beatdown matchup, or beatdown roll in this matchup, I can. Alternatively, you could leave in 1 Veil of Summer to beat Chalice on 0. And I think I am more about that life than I am a 1 of Thoughtseize or a 1 of Shadow Spear. So we'll do 1 Veil. Click Submit. So we've opened up the Gaea as well, which is really awkward. This would be a turn 1 Empty the Warrens for a ton, assuming that they didn't Chalice of the Void me. And we could do it through a Blood Moon. Alright, we're on the draw. We're going to hope that our opponent plays the wrong hate piece on turn 1. I think over-mulliganing in this matchup is a pretty easy way to lose, and here we have something powerful to do, so let's hope that it goes our way. Alright, so we, you know, got a little bit lucky there, and we found our basic swamp. Let's cast a Dark Ritual. Do you have a Song of Creation still in my deck? Do we like Song of Creation more than we like Empty the Warrens here? I think I'm actually just going to Brainstorm on my main phase instead. I mean, I could put back the Gaia's Will and have a deterministic win, but we would lose the Graveyard Hate. And I don't love that. Alright, we'll put back the Gaia's Will. I feel like it's kind of free. Play a Lion's Eye Diamond. Throw Mox. Imprint the Beseech the Mirror. Should I try... I feel like I'm talking myself into Gaia's Will here. We'll sacrifice for black. Alright, we'll Gaia's Will. Punish me. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond, sacrifice for blue, play a Chrome Mox, no imprint, and then we'll cast Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Chrome Mox. Term is 10, and we'll grab Tendrils of Agony. Would you look at me now, Mom? Alright, so we just turn 1 Moonstompy. That's pretty cool. And that was a fast match. We're 1-0, round number 2 coming right up. Hopefully it's just as quick. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. We are on the draw for the second match. We've opened up a Mox Opal, but no third artifact or land. We'll take a mulligan. Okay, so I'm going to keep this and we'll bottom a Chrome Mox. We do have Metalcraft here, but we're lacking a Beseech the Mirror or a Wishclaw Talisman. That said, if we find one off this Burning Wish, we are in a very good spot. Our opponent plays a Misty Rainforest, and we find Polluted Delta. I'll just play that and pass. Maybe I'll end up putting back a Chrome Mox here. So one of the things about BUG Saga Storm is, let's talk about the advantage. You have Urza Saga as a natural pivot against opponents, and sometimes they might leave in something like a Swords to Plowshares against your combo deck, and you gain a slight advantage that way. Okay. The downsides are you don't have Burning Wish, and instead you're playing Wishclaw Talisman, and you don't have Galvanic Relay against the blue decks. And in my opinion, that's one of the biggest things, is not having Galvanic Relay. You could argue Burning Wish versus Wishclaw Talisman, whatever. But I think ultimately not having that I win button versus the blue decks is really what's the most punishing thing. And our opponent's playing the Beanstalk deck. We're hoping to draw a blue land here so that way I can perfect Brainstorm. And instead, I draw another Mox Opal. So we'll play out a Lotus Petal here. Play out the Chrome Mox. I'm not going to end up imprinting. So we'll see what they decide to do here. They might actually force this because they think that I'm the Epic Storm. Alright, they let it resolve. What about a Mox Opal? I mean, this does look like the Epic Storm. I couldn't fault them. And that resolves. We'll now cast Brainstorm. Storm is 4. We find a Panda. I love to Panda. Alright, so we'll put back the Bayou as well. We'll fetch. I can grab a basic Swamp. Sometimes these Beanstalk decks have Wasteland. And if you can afford to play around it, you should. We'll play Ponder. Oh, that was a very good Ponder. Holy moly. Okay, so we will keep all of these. Wishclaw on the bottom. We'll draw the Beseech, Veil of Summer. Pass the turn. Our opponent casts their own copy of Ponder. They did not shuffle. They play a Bayou, so now they can play a Leyline Binding. They do. What are they targeting? Well, I guess it would have to resolve first. Hitting my Lotus Petal here is particularly brutal. Let's see if they do it. They go after the Opal, which I thought might have been the case, but the correct pick was actually the Lotus Petal, because I wouldn't have a protected win if that was the case. Okay, let's see if we can punish them. Play a Dark Ritual. Love to Ritual. Like you're an old grandmother. Alright. Let's play Cabal Ritual. And now we will cast a Beseech the Mirror. Our opponent casts Force of Negation, exiling a Teferi Time Raveler. I will play Veil of Summer, Storm 5. We draw a Wishclaw Talisman. So now Beseech happens. We'll grab the Gaea as well. And then play it, Storm 6. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual with Threshold. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play the Polluted Delta. Cast a Chrome Mox. Well, also, I think I forgot to mention in the intro, you can actually sacrifice Wishclaw Talisman to Beseech the Mirror as well. So that's another benefit of playing Wishclaw Talisman over Infernal Tutor. And that wasn't something I just realized, I just forgot to mention it. Like, I had thought of this, like, I've been wondering why people haven't been playing Wishclaw the whole time, because it just makes so much sense to me. Alright, let's hope for no main deck Veil of Summer. And we get game number 1. Veil of Summer is a card that I've seen out of the sideboards of these decks, so I'm going to bring in the Empty. And then I think you want Abrupt Decay for Lavinia. That is a card that sees a reasonable amount of play. I also like Beseiju and Carpet. I don't think you want Shadow Spear. Haywire Might, like, you could bring in if you really wanted to. I just don't know if that's what I think the matchup is about. I think I am interested in boarding down on the Moxen. So we'll do that here. I just want more good cards in my deck, pretty much. That's the game plan. So now we're at 62. We'll board out 2 Cabal Rituals since we're bringing a Carpet of Flowers. So you might be saying, Bryant, your Beseech count is too low. I don't think I actually agree with that if you're someone with that opinion. So we still have 4 copies of Urza Saga. We have Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, so that's 12. Carpet of Flowers is 15. That's already more than what the Epic Storm plays. Alright, and then on top of that, we have 4 Wishclaw Talisman. So we're still at 19 Beseech, targets, or whatever you would like to call things you could sacrifice to Beseech the Mirror, that you have with boarding out 6 artifacts. So I think that's pretty reasonable. We're just taking a slower game plan here, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, this hand is very close. If this Tendrils of Agony was a fetch land, This might be close to the ideal hand. Instead, I think we're going to be disciplined and take a mulligan. Oh why, we'll go to 5. Keep. Bottom the second Thoughtseize and Ponder. I have to get a little bit lucky. I mean, we're on 5, so it is what it be. Draw for turn. It's another Wishclaw. Play the Thoughtseize. Our opponent has a Fluster. They have Flusterstorm. You lose to Galvanic Relay so many times, and then you're forced to make an adjustment. I completely understand. And then they play Ponder. They did not shuffle. Misty, Rainforest, they have 5 in hand. And we draw Carpet of Flowers that I can't play, so we'll pass the turn. They fetch with the Misty, and they grab a Xander's Lounge. If you're unfamiliar, that is a 3-color land that is fetchable, and it cycles for 3 mana. And it taps for the Grixis colors. They play Ponder, so they have 4 of the 5 types at the moment. They shuffled on that Ponder. And a basic island. They tried to cast something, and then it didn't work. Interesting. Alright, let's play a Lotus Petal. They have 5 cards. We'll sacrifice the petal for a Carpet of Flowers. We will switch phases. We'll make 3 black mana. They have 5 cards. I'm wondering how I can best sell this to win. I think in order to best sell it, I'm supposed to play out the mana first. So in a spot like this where we have double Wishclaw, this is significantly better than double Infernal Tutor. Because double Infernal Tutor, you really only have one choice, where here, our opponent might force of will this Wishclaw Talisman, where they would never do that with an Infernal Tutor here. And they do in fact force exiling a Lorien Revealed. We'll play Wishclaw Talisman. And they have 7, or I'm sorry, Storm is 7, they have 3 cards in hand. And they have another force. Okay, so they have 1 card now. And we'll pass the turn. We're not out of this by any means. A Beseech the Mirror off the top wins, another Wishclaw Talisman. Like, we have some, draws. They find their 3rd copy of Ponder. And they did not shuffle. They play a Misty, which can go get a Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, Card of the Cards. Another Carpet. We'll make green mana. We'll play out the Carpet and pass. So you might be saying, why play out the Carpet? I think that's a fair question, but if our opponent draws a Leyline Binding, I don't want them to hit the Carpet and me be stuck with one in my hand. Like, holding for additional Storm count, I don't think is super relevant. And their last card was an Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. Let's see if they go... They did not Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. Maybe they don't have one. This looks like Teferi mana. They've retapped. It's an Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. So if I can draw a business spell off the top, it would be good for us. And their draw off the Uro was a Brainstorm. We have roughly infinite mana on the table. And by roughly infinite, I mean we have 9 mana on the table, not counting the Lion's Eye Diamond. Draw for turn. Lotus Petal, you are not what I needed. We will pass. They have another tropical island, so now they can escape the Uro. And they do. So they go up to 22 life and they draw a card. So they have 2 cards in hand now. We do have to worry about force blue card. But if I draw a tutor effect, I'm just jamming. Like, I can't afford to wait any longer at this point. And we draw Bayou. All right, I'm just going to click on the mana symbols to save myself a little bit of time here. That way it doesn't trigger again in my second main phase. So they draw up to 3 cards. When they go to combat, they will draw another card. So I'll take 8, and they get to draw another card. So the odds that they don't have any permission, and they do have Mystic Sanctuary, that they chose not to get earlier. And they're going to put Flusterstorm on top. We could actually beat a Fluster, assuming that they don't have like much else in their hand. So I'm guessing that they have other interaction. They might have like Hardcast Force plus Fluster. But we have tons of mana. I'm not actually worried about a Fluster. And we drew one of the cards that wins the game. Okay, we'll make a lot of mana. Cast Beseech the Mirror. From 1. Here's the Hardcast Force. Yep. Okay, we will go to game number 3. So here, a mulligan to 5, not ideal. Like, let's be honest. We had a little bit of fight, but without having Galvanic Relay, you do just sometimes lose to a pile of forces. Because you're not really able to punish those draws out of them. Let's try it again. On the play for the 3rd game. This is technically a hand of Magic the Gathering cards. Sure. I don't know if this is actually a keep, but I don't think I'm supposed to send it back. And I played out the Underground Sea intentionally because we only have 2 green sources in our deck. It's a pair of Bayous. And if they lead on a Wasteland, I don't want to be punished. You might be saying, like, but Brian, you could be holding Open Veil. I don't need to. So that is something that I considered. But I was trying to bait out a Wasteland on the Underground Sea. And now on turn 2, I'm going to Thoughtseize because I can now protect it with my Veil of Summers, forcing a weird play out of our opponent. They fetch using Flooded Strand. Saga might have secretly been a very good draw here. Depends on what happens this turn. And you might have been saying, like, oh, I would have played the Saga, but then I can't protect my Thoughtseize. So I'm fine waiting a turn in a very slow matchup. And they got Tropical, so this might just be their own copy of Veil of Summer, and it is. Unfortunate. So that was the... There's 1 Veil in most sideboards, so, like, I don't think you're supposed to play around it. It's unfortunate that it happened. Lists that really hate combo will play 2. Well, 0 to 1 is actually, like, the normal number. And now they play a Tundra. You draw a Dark Ritual, I'll just play the Saga. Pass the turn. And step they cycle a Lorien Revealed. They pick up an Underground Sea. They play it and pass. So that might be for Orcish Bowmasters. But if it is, I can protect my construct using a Veil. And I think that actually works out for us quite well. The Wishclaw is also a good draw. We could be looking at a potential combo turn next turn, depending on how things shake out. And they thought about flashing in Bowmasters there, and then they didn't. They play Brainstorm, Basic Plains. So now they're back down to 7 cards they will not have to discard. On their end step, we will create a 1/1 artifact construct creature that is obviously primed to get hit by Orcish Bowmasters. So there's our construct token. I was actually a little bit embarrassed at Eternal Weekend. I played a vintage Paradoxical Outcome deck where my only win condition in the deck was Key Vault. For those of you unaware, it's Manifold Key plus Time Vault. But really, it's Urza Saga constructs, and I have Japanese foil signed construct tokens, and I accidentally left them at home. So I ended up just using like weird like unglued cards or whatever, and I was very disappointed. We will cast Veil of Summer here to protect our construct. Draw land number 5. They'll ping themselves. That's right, you do. All right, and now we'll draw Force of Vigor, exiling up the Beanstalk. Well, that's just not nice. Okay. Brainstorm when there's a Bowmasters in play. I don't know how much I love that. They have 4 cards. Let's attempt the Wishclaw. I just realized something. I am not playing 4 Veil of Summer tonight. I'm playing 3, so I open-handed all 3 copies of Veil. I'm so used to playing 4 that I was just like, oh, what are the odds like you open up 3 or 4? And I didn't think much of it. But no, we're actually playing 3 Veil of Summer tonight, 4 Thoughtseize. So, you know, odds are not as great. Run it with a long pause. They let it resolve. Okay. We will pass the turn. And they have the Leyline Binding. Obviously, that was the risk. I knew that when I passed and when I cast it. But I figured after a Force of Vigor, maybe they don't. They're going to flash in another Orcish Bowmasters here. Not looking great for me. They have 3 cards. So if I could draw Beseech the Mirror, I guess I would need something to sacrifice as well. I'm at 15. I feel like I might be able to wait a little bit. Let's Thoughtseize them. Also, if I could draw Besage You, I can Besage You the Leyline Binding and get back my Claw. Terra Force and Negation. And a 3rd Bowmasters. So I'm trying to think here. So they have 4 damage on the board. I'm about to go to 13. So let's say I purposely leave them with double Force and Negation. Next turn, they could hardcast a Force and then Force Pitch if they draw a blue card. So if I go Veil of Summer, they Force. Veil of Summer, they Force. I then have to Brainstorm into double Orcish Bowmasters. I think it's supposed to be a Force. And then we'll pass. They're attacking for 4, so I'll go to 9. They have 1 unknown in their hand. Gaea's Will was not the draw we wanted. Alright, so end step, let's say that they flash in an Orcish Bowmasters. Their army becomes a 3/3, so I would go to 3 on my turn. I'm going to wait. I think I can afford to wait one turn here. I'm going to allow this trigger to happen. I realize that I could veil it. I want the veils for my next combo turn. Oh, I must have done my math wrong. I'm going to 2. I forgot to ping off the original Orcish Bowmasters. So they have Force of Negation plus 2 unknowns at this point. Alright, deck. We need some good stuff here. That is certainly a start. These are my only 2 green sources. Let's lead on Veil of Summer. Let's see what happens. Do you even attempt to fight knowing that I have that? I mean, I guess you could. They Force of Will, exiling an Uro. So I know that they have another, that they have Hardcast, Force of Negation. So if I Veil here, I'm actually just dead. So they drew Force blue card as their 2 natural draws. Pretty good. Unfortunate. We'll play the Veil. They play the Force of Negation. So both my Veil of Summers are countered. And I have no line. I guess we can die to our own Brainstorm and look at what we drew. So I could have put back the Gaia's Will, the Song of Creation, play Beseiju, Carpet of Flowers into the win. Had that resolved. But instead we lose. So here we actually saw part of the issue with Urza Saga is like even against the deck that has tons of free counter magic, they still had Force of Vigor to blow up my construct and my land. And if that was Galvanic Relay, this game would have been considerably different. I wouldn't have been locked underneath their Orcish Bowmasters, all that stuff. Like, this is not an advertisement to play the Epic Storm. I am just comparing the differences between the 2 decks. Like, Urza Saga has matchups where it's pretty good. Like, getting an Aether Spellbomb is a very meaningful thing. And I'm not trying to just make it seem like ES is always better, but I'm pointing out that against these blue 4-color soup, you know, decks or whatever you'd like to call them, Galvanic Relay is just such a powerhouse. But we're going to try to keep our head up and win match number 3. I hope to see you there. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match number 3, we're on the draw. This seems like a pretty reasonable hand. We'll keep this. Not really sure what our opponent's playing. I feel like I remember them being a Dark Depths player, but I don't know. It looks more like Scam to me. Obviously, you know, basic Swamp Grief, exiling Orcish Bowmasters. Next turn will be, I don't know, Dark Depths plus Lotus Petal, Vampire Hexmage, right? Like, that's what's going to happen here? I'm being sarcastic. Obviously, they're not on Depths. They take Veil of Summer. Okay. We open up our own copy of Thoughtseize. I don't think I'm interested in playing it, though. I'm just going to ponder here off our basic island. We can shuffle that. Beseech the Mirror. We'll pass. And step in Tomb. Yep. Surprise, surprise. They grab Gristlebrand and reanimate on the Gristlebrand. They go to 12. And now they're at 5. They play a Badlands, Lotus Petal, and animate Dead. So I could try to brainstorm in response here. Hide the Beseech the Mirror on the top of the deck. But my problem with this plan is I don't have any mana. So I'd have to brainstorm into all mana here. And I didn't do that either. I think I'm supposed to put Brainstorm all the way on the bottom. We'll take away the illusion of choice for the opponent. 1 Wishclaw Talisman down. Okay, so now we're going to draw the Beseech. We'll play the Wishclaw. And then pass the turn. So our opponent's currently attacking us for 9. Which would put us to 10. They'll go up to 12 and they can pay 7 more life and draw 7 more cards. They're at 5. They play a Grief, discards Beseech the Mirror. They know that I have a Brainstorm on top of my deck if they've been paying attention. Lotus Petal, another Grief. They take my Thoughtseize. They play a land. Faithless Looting, discards a pair of lands. If I untap and then Brainstorm into Lion's Eye Diamond or Cabal Ritual, I believe the game is over. They play another Faithless Looting. The worst thing that could happen to me would be an Archon of Cruelty, and then they discarded one. So they found one off the Faithless Looting. So now they can discard my Polluted Delta, and Brainstorm can't win the game. I don't have enough resources. Unfortunate. Bye, Polluted Delta. Yep, and they know that my last card is the Brainstorm. We don't have an out here. So I could upkeep, activate the Wish Claw, go get Cabal Ritual, but I can't cast the Cabal Ritual, and even if I drew a Beseech, it is not good enough. So we lost game number 1. We'll bring in our Surgicals. I'm not sure if I want anything else. Maybe take out Cabal Rituals. Try this. Like, in theory, you could bring in Aether Spellbomb. I just don't think that's really what the matchup is about. We're on the play for game number 2. Yeah, this seems great. Keep. Our opponent is also elected to keep 7. We're going to main phase this Brainstorm. Actually, should I just ponder? No, I'm going to main phase it. Put the Tendrils on top, and we'll put Ponder on top of that. Finding another artifact was huge here, and on top of that, we found Veil of Summer. So I can actually hide this Surgical Extraction from something like an Unmask or a Grief. Our opponent casts a Grief. I will Veil of Summer. I could wait for it to resolve, but I'm not going to. It just doesn't matter. It only targets opponents anyway. So the Grief goes to the graveyard. They play a Badlands. Dark Ritual. Gothy Voidwalker. That's fine. Lotus Petal, 2 cards left. If this is Reanimate plus Entomb, it would be the best hand I've ever seen out of this deck. But it looks like it is not. We'll draw the Tendrils of Agony and cast Ponder. Beseech the Mirror. I'm going to leave the Beseech on top of the deck. Protect it from discard spells this way. We'll draw the land. Pass the turn. Ooh, I just realized something. I guess I'd have to win with Saga. That's a little awkward. Because I didn't board in the empty. But my game plan is to put Song of Creation into play, and then play a couple copies of Urza Saga as my land drops. They take the Surgical. Okay. A really interesting spot here. I could also pass, and then draw the Thoughtseize, giving me a spell to start off Song. But if they discard me again, it's very awkward. Having this Tendrils in my hand is not been ideal. It's very uncomfortable here, because if I discard it to the Gothy, I am without a win condition. That isn't Urza Saga. I think I'm going to pass. That is definitely a spot where having Burning Wish in your deck matters quite a bit. We'll take 3 down to 14. Okay, so I do need to get a little bit lucky here. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror. I'll sacrifice the Mox Opal. And we'll grab Song of Creation. And now I'll fetch. I'm at 13. Grab a Bayou. And I don't want to use the Lion's Eye Diamonds because I don't want to discard the Tendrils if I can help it. Maybe that's a greedy play, but I don't think we want to. So here I'd be looking to draw a couple 0-mana spells. There's one. Discard their Lotus Petal. Play a Lotus Petal ourselves. Come on, deck, be good. Alright, so that's uncomfortable. So now if I play the Thoughtseize, I'm discarding Gristlebrand. But I don't think I really have much of a choice here. We will Thoughtseize you. Trigger Song. Awkward. So not only did I discard Gristlebrand, I also fizzled. We'll play the Urza Saga. And now I have to discard not only the Tendrils of Agony, but also you Beseech the Mirror. So what our opponent can do here, this turn went horribly, is they can cast Beseech the Mirror, go get a reanimate their Gristlebrand. And I don't have one condition in my deck. Like, this Urza Saga is not going to be able to beat a Gristlebrand. So that turn just went terribly, terribly wrong. I could have Thoughtseized myself and just said there's no way that I'm winning this with Tendrils of Agony. And just discard the Tendrils and then hope to win that way. That could have been an option. But I think, I don't know, like a Dark Ritual there gets us so close. Because any land drop plus Dark Ritual is the game. And they just drew Reanimate. Oh, come on. I mean, I don't have a way to win. It just doesn't matter here. Empty's in my sideboard. Not that Empty would race Gristlebrand plus Dothy Voidwalker anyway. A Faithless Looting. Dark Ritual. Another copy of Dothy Voidwalker. Now they're going to use the Dothy Voidwalker that was not summoning sick. And now they can cast my own Beseech. Or they'll just Tendrils me. Yeah, they're a Storm deck too. Nice. Love it. Okay, well that is match number 3. I really do feel like we've seen some of the differences between the two decks here. Just not having Burning Wish, not having Relay. And this isn't an average. I promise it's not just me shilling for the Epic Storm. It's just like having Urza Saga so far has not outweighed not having a red. That's at least my opinion. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and we'll try to win the next 2. So hopefully I see you in the 4th match. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. We're looking to come back after those 2 brutal matches. We're on the draw against Spyman, who has a pretty big range of decks that they've played. I mean, I faced them on the Epic Storm before, but they then went on a streak of playing only blue control decks, and then more recently they've been on a lot of lands decks, and it looks like Spyman is still on lands. Okay, so we see a turn 1 Mox Diamond and an Elvish Reclaimer discarding a Karakas. Green Sun Zenith for a Dryad Arbor. They have 1 card in their hand now. Alright, I guess our best draw here would be a Wishclaw Talisman for a win. Brainstorm. We'll play an Urza Saga and pass the turn. Windswept Heath. The Reclaimer is now a 3/4. They're getting in there. Okay. I will go to 19. Draw for turn. It's an Opal. I like that. Alright, so we will play out a pair of Lion's Eye Diamonds and then the Opal. Okay. So it's worth noting, I mentioned in the intro about Bojuka Bog into, crop rotation into Bojuka Bog. Elvish Reclaimer is that on the board. So we have to be mindful here of instant speed Bojuka Bog. And we bricked pretty hard. Wow. I don't know what to say. We'll put back, don't even know. I guess there's no reason to keep Bayou, so that can go on top. So if I play Saga here, that means I can use it next turn. And then we'll play Chrome Mox, Imprint Veil, pass. They use an Elvish Reclaimer. I imagine they're getting Wasteland here. They get Stage. So I might just be dead. Am I fortunate enough to get another draw step that isn't the known Bayou on top of our deck? And they're going after, well, I guess they're going to give me a shuffle effect here. That's good. So we get a large construct, and now we get to shuffle. We'll grab an Underground Sea. That worked out very well for us. Now our construct, or our saga, will go to 2. Play a land. Go to combat. Hiya! Alright, so they are not blocking. If I animate here, or activate the saga, it's like a storm count, because it's going to put them to 12. Okay. And now I can play a Wishclaw Talisman. Maybe I should have done that pre-combat. Oh, they're just conceding. Sweet. Okay. So that's good. We could have chained Beseeches there into Tendrils of Agony, avoiding the graveyard. So we would have sacrificed both Lion's Eye Diamonds. You then activate the Wishclaw, giving it to the opponent. You then have 2 Moxen and 2 Construct tokens. So you can cast 4 Beseeches into Tendrils for Storm 6. That's how that game would have played out. But instead, we're going to the next game. We'll grab Abrupt Decays. I think we probably want Aether Spellbomb. I am not interested in Veil of Summer. I think I want the Haywire Might. So that's 63 cards. We're going to shave 1 of each Mox. And then the 4th Saga. I don't think Saga is like particularly good in this matchup, so that's sort of my rationale. And 1 of each Mox is to make Force of Vigor less impactful. Our opponent's taking a mulligan, we will keep. They have 6 cards. Mox Diamond. Discards of Flagstones, they play a Wasteland. Collector Oof. And here I am holding a Haywire Might like a dummy. So our deck list has exactly 2 copies of Abrupt Decay that answer this. Because we're playing the... I mean, we're playing a list that's meant to be Archon of Emeria by playing the Aether Spellbomb. And Spellbomb does nothing against a Collector Oof. Thespian Stage. They destroy my Beseiju. They think they're the beatdown? Please, I'm definitely the beatdown. Come on. They have 2 cards. Dark Ritual? No such luck. We'll play the Bayou. Go to combat. Every point matters. And they have another Wasteland. That hurts. Okay. So you can actually beat Collector Roof sometimes by just casting Beseech into Gaea's Will, which is tough against the crop rotation Bojuka Bog deck. But the Collector Roof is currently shutting off their green mana. Thoughtseize will attack. And now they're attacking. I love a Polluted Delta here. Another Cabal Ritual. Swing, swing. I'm going to discard an extra Beseech them. They find a Windswept Heath. They go to 16. For a Sylvan. Okay. I go to 12. We're up to K, but I don't have any lands. That doesn't do me any good. I think at this point, I'm not even interested in the Abrupt Decay, which might seem crazy to you, but if I can cast a 2-mana spell, I can Cabal Ritual into lethal. So, like, why do I need Abrupt Decay? They did not pay any additional life. 3 mana here. For what it's worth, our opponent, they're not actually playing lands. They're on Selesnya Depths. We saw Green Sun Zenith in game 1. The decks are very similar, but it is technically a different archetype. I have not drawn a land that was not in my opening hand. Swing, swing. They cast a Crop Rotation, and that's lethal, so we can go to the next one. Because they're just going to make a Merit Lodge on my end step. Okay. I don't think I'm going to... Let's just resubmit. Game 3 on the play. Sure, we'll try this. This hand is very fair. It might not go our way. Our opponent kept 6 cards. We'll play the Bayou, and then the Haywire Might. So, purposely not leading on Urza Saga for 2 reasons here. 1, if you go Saga into Haywire Might, you now have 2 artifacts for Force of Vigor. Or 2 artifacts or enchantments. And 2, if they Wasteland me, Urza Saga is probably better than the Bayou with our hand. So they just play a Savannah and pass. We draw a Beseech, which was a very good draw. We'll attack. And now we'll play... I'm actually going to play the Saga. Is this a Force of Vigor? There's a pause. And it is. That's such a bummer. I guess I can gain 2 life here. So brutal. I'm not going to complain about differences between decks or anything, I promise. I'm just going to stop that for the rest of this league. I've already made my point. And we're just going to focus on trying to win this game. Oh, I should have tapped the Saga for mana to play Spellbomb. That's a mistake on my part. Let's ponder. I don't think this gets us there, so I'm going to shuffle. We'll play the Spellbomb. Pass the turn. They have 4 cards in their hand. 5 after their draw step. Thespian Stage. No Green Sun Zenith for Collector Roof. So I could Beseech the Mirror into Fetch Brainstorm. So you might be saying, why Beseech the Mirror into Song of Creation? It doesn't, like, our opponent's a Crop Rotation Bojuka Bog deck that probably also has some number of Endurance. That's what I'm thinking about here. And I'm going to try to draw out a Force of Vigor by playing Mox Opal here to see if they respond. They did not. Alright, so we'll play the Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Opal. They tapped a green. They got a little ahead of themselves. Going to grab the Song of Creation and cast it. We'll then sacrifice the Lotus Petal for a blue and cast Brainstorm. Song of Creation will trigger. I've played 1 land this turn. We'll put these 2 cards on top. Not cards I really wanted to see there. Song of Creation triggers. We'll play a Chrome Mox, Storm 7, we'll draw 2. Imprint the Gaea's Will. We'll then play a Lion's Eye Diamond, Storm 8. 2 more cards, 2 more artifacts. Here we go. Off to the races. Storm 9. Lion's Eye Diamond, Storm 10. There's a Cabal Ritual. We'll play the Cabal Ritual. I do have Threshold if they don't Endurance or Crop Rotation here. We'll cast a Thoughtseize. We'll draw 2 more. They have Veil of Summer. Okay. So I guess we're trying to play a Saga. We'll play a Witchclaw. There's a Saga. We'll play the Saga for turn. If I don't find like a Brainstorm to put back this Tendrils, we can't follow up next turn. So I'll play a Cabal Ritual, and the guy's will is exiled. Dark Ritual, play out the Chrome Mox, exile the Abrupt Decay, tap for a green, let's Beseech you to destroy their Thespian stage. We'll play another Wish Claw. If I can find a Beseech, I can also sacrifice the Song, which is probably our best option here. Play another Wish Claw. There's a Beseech. We'll cast it with Bargain, sacrificing the Song. We'll grab a Lotus Petal, play the Petal, and we will pass the turn. Discard 2 extra lands. We don't need triple Thoughtseize. Probably don't need double Ponder. Don't need a 4th Wishclaw Talisman. Okay. We're not in a terrible spot here. They play a Karakas. So they waited to Green Sun Zenith because they wanted to hold open Veil. Interesting. They pick up Gaddock Tea. Why wouldn't you get Collector if there's an onboard Aether Spellbomb? We'll draw for turn. They might have another Veil of Summer, and that's why they're doing this line. Let's attempt to Thoughtseize them. Legolas's Quick Reflexes. So their creature gains Hexproof Reach, and whenever it deals... Okay, so they're hoping to avoid the Spellbomb that way. Discard their Collector Roof. So I probably have them next turn. We'll play another Saga. And then we'll blow up their... we'll Beseech you their Karakas. So that way they can't, you know, protect anything. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Because I can, I'll just make a giant construct in my main phase. I tapped poorly. I could have held open a blue for the Spellbomb, but ultimately I don't think it really matters. They play an Elvish Reclaimer. We'll draw for turn, and now our constructs become a little bit... I should say our sagas become a little bit bigger. And they're just going to concede instead of waiting. Sweet. We're 2-2, 1 match left to go. I guess it's worth noting that Saga was fine here. I said I wouldn't talk about the differences, but Saga was fine here. It was a reasonable alternative around Veil of Summer. It required giving the opponent more time, but we were able to get more time. And sacrificing the Song of Creation to Beseech the Mirror was a pretty sweet line. So, I mean, that was cool. I enjoyed it. All right, match 5 coming right up. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. The 5th and final round, we're on the draw against Matthias Hardstyle, who exclusively plays Chalice of the Void decks, typically Moonstompy. Here we've opened up the basic Swamp. We'll see how this goes. We did beat Moonstompy in game number 1, or match number 1, but it looks like Matthias is not playing that today. Dark Ritual, looks like I'm getting Goldfish by Reanimator again. Gothy Voidwalker, Thoughtseize, ouch. They took our Wishclaw Talisman, that was not very nice of them. Beseech is not bad. Let's maybe draw something that I can bargain away. Ephemerate. So they're on Black-White Scam. Interesting. We'll take a hit going down to 15. Saga is a thing I can sacrifice. We'll play the Saga. So I could Song of Creation here, but I don't know what that actually does for me. I'm going to just pass the turn. Our opponent attacks. We'll go to 12. Mox Opal. So this is Song of Creation plus 2 spells. I'm down for that. Beseech the Mirror. So the best thing Urza Saga has done this league, in my opinion, has just been something to sacrifice to Beseech early on, which has just been really nice. Like, I have to admit, having a land that sacrifices is quite good. I do genuinely enjoy that. We'll play a Mox Opal. Choosing to not play the Bayou, because if I draw an Underground Sea, I want to be able to play blue spells. Tendrils of Agony, okay. Guess I'll fetch. Need to draw something good off this Dark Ritual. Underground Sea, Dark Ritual. Alright, we drew Lotus Petal to save our Heine here. We were almost in a situation again where Gothy Voidwalker was going to exile our only win condition. But instead it looks like we're going to win the game. Sweet. Firm is 7. Let's Veil of Summer because I can. Storm 8. Dark Ritual. Cast Thoughtseize on our opponent for fun. And they've conceded. We are off to game number 2 versus Black-White Ephemerate. I think we probably want Beseiju, Abrupt Decay, a Haywire Might. I could even see Shadow Spear being good in this matchup. And then maybe the spell... Actually, we probably want the empty too. A lot of cards. So I think you're supposed to just board out all of the Thoughtseizes. Unpopular opinion. On the draw, I don't think Veil is good enough. So we're going to board out the Veil. Now you're at 61. Let's cut 1 Chrome Mox and try this. I think if I was on the play, I'd be leaving in Veil of Summers right now. But, like, your opponent's going to play their Grief or their Thoughtseize on turn 1, and then it's going to rot in your hand. So let's just try to have a better deck with more action in it when we're on the draw. There used to be this theory in 2010 to 2013 or 14 with Modern Jund, where in the Jundamir you boarded out all of your discard spells because you wanted more live draws. And I kind of feel like this is a pseudo Jundamir, where you don't really want to be drawing discard spells or Veil of Summers after the first few turns. We'll keep this and bottom the Tendrils. Turn 1 Scrubland into Thoughtseize. They take the Wishclaw. I agree with that. I mean, I don't know what their hand is, but I do think that was probably the correct take. We'll play Polluted Delta, player Blind's Eye Diamond, and our Opal, and then pass. So there is some risk here with holding the Polluted Delta open. I'm choosing to be better against a Wasteland, but if our opponent decides to Opposition Agent me, it's a little bit weird. Sure. You could fetch in response, but, like, it doesn't matter. They're not going to use their Dothy on a fetch land. Spellbomb. So that will give us Metalcraft. Let's go grab the basic island. We'll play the Spellbomb. And actually, I'm going to choose to go grab the basic Swamp right now, too. Pass the turn. The opponent attacks. We'll take 3 down to 15. But nice Wasteland. Touch the Spirit Realm. That's not ideal. Could I cycle the Spellbomb? I think so. We'll draw a card. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I'm sitting here holding a Beseiju that could... I don't know what I was thinking. That was actually kind of dumb. I could have just Beseiju the touch and then held onto my Spellbomb. And then we draw a Gaea as well. Classic. We will play the Bayou and pass the turn. So you might be saying, why not suspend the Gaia's Will? Because I need to use the Beseiju to blow up the Touch of the Spirit Realm. So, like, I just like cascading misplays. That's pretty much all I've been doing this game. We'll blow up the Touch. Our Bayou gets destroyed. And, like, one of the things is our opponent's probably playing Opposition Agent. And now I have to worry about Opposition Agent, where I wouldn't have had to if I just held on to my Aether Spellbomb. We'll put the Gaia's Well on top. And Dark Ritual. Play Lotus Petal. Play Urza Saga. And then we'll pass. They use Marsh Flats. So you might be saying just Abrupt Decay the Dothy Voidwalker. We saw that they're an Ephemerate deck. So I guess here I'm pressured into using the Decay. But they're likely to just blink their own creature. And they use the Dothy. Thoughtseize will fizzle. And then they cast Brainstorm. And they found another Wasteland. That's huge. Our top 2 cards are Dark Ritual, Gaia's Will. Maybe I was supposed to put Gaia's Will on top. Misplay in hindsight. And there's the Opposition Agent. Yep, so we'll go to 9. I don't even know if it's worth suspending this because I'm not going to have 4 turns to unsuspend. And I only have 1 other Abrupt Decay to kill this. I'm pretty sure we're just dead here. So I kept on saying that I wouldn't compare the decks, but Wishclaw Talisman and Beseech the Mirror both search your library. That is all I will say. There's another tutor you can play that searches your sideboard. All right, on the play, we definitely want these Veil of Summer. I'm going to take a Mox Opal. Maybe the Cabal Rituals? Is that insane? I think I'm going to try it. It might be a little bit greedy. If it's not the Cabal Rituals, I think it has to be either Moxen or Ponders. I think the Moxen are a little bit better in your Urza Saga deck. This hand is not keepable. Send that back. What does this do? Nothing. Not on turn 1 at least. We'll keep it though. Bottom the Ponder. Bayou. Dark Ritual. We're going to play out everything we can here, because by playing out our hand, we're avoiding discard spells. If we have one more mana, you might be able to do something, but it would have involved like starting on Urza's Saga instead of the Bayou. They search out a Scrubland, Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize. I have 2 lands. Null Rod. Well, we happen to have Beseech Who Endures in our hand. How about that? We draw Empty the Warrens. Not really what I want here. Wasteland. They destroy my Saga. Well, we will destroy your Null Rod. Fair trade. They have 4 cards, 2 open mana. I needed that Saga as Beseech fuel. Draw a card. We hit Mox Opal. I think that does it. So we'll make a bunch of mana here. Activate. Go get Beseech the Mirror. Cast the Beseech, sacrificing the Opal. And now we get Gaea's Will. Storm 3. We'll play the Gaea's Will. Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. Play Urza's Saga from the graveyard as our land. Sacrifice it. Cast a Dark Ritual. Tap the Saga for mana. We'll then cast Beseech the Mirror. From 7. Sacrifice the Opal. So if I get another Beseech that's 8 into Tendrils, that will do it because they Thoughtseize. I'd actually be short on Storm if they didn't play Thoughtseize. And now we'll grab the Tendrils. How about that? Positive record. Yes, we've gone 3-2. Love that for us. So, I mean, I've made my thoughts pretty clear throughout the league. I don't know if Urza's Saga really excelled at any point this league other than being sacrificed to Beseech early on. And if you wanted something like that, you could play Vault of Whispers, you could play Seat of the Synod. There's artifact lands that exist. But throughout the league, I was just reminded over and over again about how the trade-off, because you're BUG, okay? So your 3 colors, your Sultai, whatever. And your 4th color is really colorless because you're playing a mana base that has Urza's Saga in it. And with that, you can't really afford to play Galvanic Relay or Burning Wish. And was having Saga worth not having those cards? There were situations we had where Tendrils being discarded to our own Song of Creation was really uncomfortable. That was definitely something that happened. There was, you know, the fact that our Saga plus Construct was Force Vigored versus the 5-color control deck, where I'm not saying that the Urza Saga would have been a Galvanic Relay, but we could have had Relay in our deck versus a deck that gets punished for just having, you know, draws where they draw 4 or 5 forces, which is what happened in both post-board games. So that was uncomfortable. Opposition Agent, Burning Wish gets around that. There was just a whole bunch of awkward tendencies that we had because we chose to play Urza Saga. I do think Urza Saga is a really powerful Magic card. Don't get me wrong. It is a beautifully designed card. It's impacting Legacy in tons of ways. I just don't think it's necessarily worth losing the Red Splash and Storm combo. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I'm sure I didn't play perfectly this league, which could have had some impact on my thoughts here, but I think I played reasonably well. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. Keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.